Good afternoon and good evening. It's the 19th of October 2023 and this is a trade recap for the day. I'm going to just quickly go over my trade, why I took it and any insights I had during the trade. Today I only took just one trade because we had lots and lots of speakers today. If you look at the economic calendar, it's just full of speakers, and we had 12 o'clock was Powell speaking as well, which was 3 out of 3 on the volatility index. So I'll just go back one. So back to the 5-minute chart of MES. I said in my live video this morning that I was only going to take a quarter of a size or a half size, a very small position, because I had a migraine yesterday and I'm still got the headache. I got the brain fog that comes with it and the pain behind the eyes. So I put some levels in this morning, and on screen the levels you can see 43.30 was an area I was watching for higher risk rejection, and 43.20 I was watching for that was a bounce area, higher risk because it's a pre-market level. And you can probably see already from the chart that those levels were perfect. In fact, every level today, which I talked about, came into play, including the 4300, which is my higher I'm not taking it because it's too late in the day, but it's a higher probability bounce area, and look at that, came straight into the area. So I'll go through the levels in a second. I'll just discuss my trade. So I was watching the opening candles, and what I was particularly interested, if you remember in my live video from 8 o'clock, was it 8 AM, we were talking about it from then through, no, from 9 o'clock I meant, was about there, and I said where we are right now is a higher less probable rejection mode, or a higher risk rejection. And I was watching it, we went away, we looked at oil, came back again, and we saw this candle being put in. So the idea was correct. Again, the idea is correct. So these levels, honestly, these levels just work great every time, and I was right on the money with that position. But I didn't take it because I was doing my live video. Maybe I should start taking them in the live videos. But anyway, what I did do, the market opened and I just waited, and it came back up to this level again, and it was a double top at my level. The volume, even though it's opening volume, I ignored the volume because I don't look at the volume for the first 15 minutes of the market open. And as it started to come back down again, I went short just there, and I was in. I only had a quarter of a size, so it's a very small size, and my stop, as you can imagine, was the top, a little bit above the pre-market high, and that's a little bit of a buffer area as well. So if we did come back up again, I would have got stopped out about 3 or 4 ticks after the high. But anyway, as you can see, didn't have to worry about that. It instantly broke down. It pulled back a little bit on itself, so I was at break even for a few minutes. And my out was when we got down to the 50 moving average just there. So just zoom this in a bit better. That's a better. So my entry was exactly on the position I said I was going to take, and that was 43.50 and 50 cents. I was smack bang on there. And as it came down, it pulled back, it came down, and I got out just there. I was really targeting the VWAP, and again, had I just held, it would have hit my target anyway. In fact, not once had I just held today's high. Let's have a look and see what happened earlier. Okay, yeah, so the Powell, when he came on at 12, that would have forced it over. So if I was doing an end of day hold, I would have been stopped out. But I don't do end of day hold anymore. I would have waited for my next level. So what is my next level? Had I taken a full size, I know it's hindsight, but I would have got in here like I did. I would have taken a bit out on the VWAP. Would have got a bit nervous about here, but I would never have been anywhere near my even break even. My break even was there anyway. And my next target would have been probably here. Or, it would have been this demand zone. So I would have held, as soon as it came into this demand zone, I probably would have taken profit as it touched the bottom of it, and maybe as it touched the top, and that would have been my target. So that's what I would have gone for on a normal day. probably would have been looking for a reversal, especially where it's in a demand zone, an area I'm watching, 43.25, and this candle, this is a perfect turnaround or a bottom tail candle or a hammer candle on increased volume. So if you look at the candle before, relatively same size as this candle, you know, slightly bigger, but look at the volume. So that's a very low, oh hang on, I missed it. It's a very low volume test candle, and you can see off this indicator, it's always, I need to fix it, it's an indicator I wrote which tells me about anomalies. It basically means the next candle is an anomaly, not the one it's over above, and that's just a quick fix. And the same as this highlighted area here as well. So we had an anomaly on this candle where it's double the volume above the average, and it's the same size as the previous candle. So that shows that there's weakness in the selling, weakness in the market. And then the hammer candle came along on double the volume, so a position above the high of that, maybe a tick above it, and that would have been quite a good trade as well. I wasn't watching for trading. My daughter had a parents' evening, so I went to the school, and as expected, her report was excellent. So I'd rather have done that and be trading, because you know sometimes trading takes over, and it really does take over, and you kind of ignore your kids and your family. So I'm just looking at this trade here. I know it was too risky. It's 12 o'clock. Powell's. This is the Powell speaking area. I was watching it actually, but I was also watching a webinar with Jared Tendler, which if you're in the Discord, I'll put the link to that later. It was very good. But you could have maybe taken the breakout of this channel for down to the level. The levels, look at that level, spot on. It came in, touched it, came through, pushed up, came back, rejected that level 43.20, and don't forget these levels were discussed and were in play from the pre-market video. And then it gets even better than that. So if you were long over here, maybe long, look at this beautiful hammer candle, you could have gone long, higher high, break of the candle, all the way up. You could have taken it off at the VWAP, taken some off that level, and then into this supply zone. I know it's green, but it's a supply zone. So how I would have handled that, I would have been targeting this area for a double top, maybe just before that area for a lower high, but it didn't put in a new high here, especially in the 5 minute. So my stop, which would have been at break even at some point, maybe at the VWAP, I would have brought it all the way up to this candle here, and it would have stopped me out there. So the move would have been this. This is the meat of the move. Could you have got the one back down again? Maybe. We've got the top here, a higher low. Maybe you could have just reversed the position if you're long, played the range. The stop could have been there, or you could have kept it a bit tight there, or you could have used that candle as a stop, or you could have used the level 43.56 as a stop, and whatever, any of those would have not stopped you out today, and you could have taken this, rode it all the way back down, a bit of a congestion area, and more importantly it's in a level we're watching, so a area of demand. And look at this, higher congested volume as well. So you know this level of demand. How do you know whether whether this is an accumulation zone or a distribution zone? If you remember, you got the accumulation zone at the bottom. Was that stage 1? Stage 2 is a push up, stage 3 is the top, and stage 4 is the push back down. So that's accumulation. At the top is distribution. So again, it's in the supply zone. Let's change that colour. It looks more complete if I do that. Okay, technically this is now supply as well, because we're in the, because we've broken through it. It was demand today. Technically when it broke it should have been supply. So how do you know that this is not a area accumulation and we were looking for another move back up? You don't really, but what you can look for is clues and the clues in this are the topping tails, showing that the buyers pushed it up and then the sellers pushed it back down. Again, it's indecision, and it's on higher volume than the previous candle as well, so you know there's a bit of indecision here. So the buyers came in and the sellers came back. Then we have a red candle which shows the sellers are in control, and then we had another candle which would have been all green, and then the sellers came back and pushed it back down again. Another indecision candle, and what's the volume on that? Higher volume. Here we go, this is the clue now. So the volume is increasing. So indecision candle, increase in volume. So something's about to happen. Another red candle, and then we couldn't quite break out over the midway point of this channel, and we had this big volume down. So had you placed your position at the, and again this zone, look at this, the bottom of this supply zone or the demand zone at the time is the breakout point, and the top of this supply zone could have been the breakup point, or you know, whether you could have got it there, but yeah, that's fine. I was just thinking it's an area of supply and demand. You can see over this side it was a little bit higher, so maybe the top end of this zone is a little bit low, but the bottom end has been spot on. You can see it's held it there, ignoring this little blip when Powell was speaking, and it's holding it here again as well. So entry there on increasing volume as well, and increasing volume when it's declining, showing that there's strength in the sellers. So that's what you're looking for. Your stop loss could be up here, just above the congestion area. And because it's a congestion area, and you've got all this extra volume here, and we've got the point of control, that red line runs all the way through. This is a natural area of resistance. So it's going to take a lot for the market to come back and get through that again. So even if you did pull back, you'll probably pull back to this area. You've got loads of time to think about getting out of break even or just adding to your position. In this case, it didn't. It just pushed on down again. And lo and behold, 4,300, and this is a level we've been watching. So potentially right now, if we can break, we've got a bit of a downtrend. We could potentially be looking for a bounce around here. Too late in the day for me. It's 8:30, which is 3:30 in Eastern in New York, or 3:30 Eastern time. But we can see it break. Look, one end push up, and there's some clues we can watch how we know this is an area of accumulation right now. We've got topping tails, bottom topping tails, and then we've got our first signal of strength, which is that candle, and it doesn't put in a new low. So that's the first warning sign we may want to change trend. And we've got relatively higher volume. You look at the volume here, and it's, you know, we could say this is ending volume, but there's no ultra ending volume candle. That's what we're looking for. But we've got increased volume, so there's more activity around this area. Next clue, apart from that big green candle, it's not a solid green candle, but it's the best green candle we've seen. When was the last time in this trend did we see a big solid green candle coming all the way up without any major topping tails? This one. And what happened when we saw that solid green candle? We pushed up still. So anyway, so that's the first sign there. And I always like to compare candles with previous candles and volume with previous volume as well. And then next sign, we've got this topping tail candle. Again, at one point that would have been all green, come back down. That would have been all green, come back down. This would have been an entire green candle. So there's signs that we want to change trend and that the buyers are here. So for example, that candle started there, pushed up this green candle at one point and came back down and left the tail. Again, this one here in particular started there, would have been an entire green candle at one point, came back down and just left the topping tail. And then we've got bottom tails on these green candles as well. So that shows that it was once a red candle. The buyers came in, pushed it back up. Buyers came in, pushed it back up, and then let's take a look at volume. And there you go, and that kind of just Shows my point. So the buyers came in and the volume increases. The buyers came in and the volume increases. So if I was going to take this trade, I could probably say I wouldn't take it anyway because we need confirmation, and confirmation will be the break of this pivot here. It's a good level to get in, but it's too late in the day for me. I probably would have been looking for an entry right now. Didn't quite get to 4,300. Did it get to 4,300? What's that low? 4,350 cents. It didn't quite, but good enough. We could see it just accumulate for a while now, and signs of accumulation is we see it just going sideways for a bit, and then every time we see a push down, we see increased volume. Push down, increased volume. And that's basically, and then when we see it push up, then the buyers come in, and we're looking for a low volume test candle. So it would be a tail with a wick. So we would have started at the bottom, pushed it all the way up, come all the way back down, and it would be on very low volume. And it's the wrong way round actually, I meant the other way around. We would have started up here, we would have brought it all the way down looking to see if there's any more sellers, and there's no more sellers, so the buyers push it back up. So it's a topping tail candle is what we're looking for, something like that, but on very low volume. So, and that's another sign. You may not see it on a smaller time scale, it's a 5 minute, but we're breaking that pivot there. We just need to break that area. 43.12 is an area to watch for. But anyway, we've got a new level. If this is the low of the day, we've got a new level for tomorrow, and it will be 44,350. Still 4,300 is the area to watch. Okay, so here we go. Look, it's breaking out now, just what we talked about. So it's broken that area. It's got to get above this area here. 43.12, 43.13. Let's see what happens. It would be nicer. Another confirmation would be a double bottom, or a bottom with a higher low. So we've got the low there, and we've got a slightly higher low there, but the longer the time we spend going sideways, the bigger the expected move we will get as well. One of Wyckoff's laws is that the amount of effort is related to the amount of the energy of the move is based on the I can't remember that word, but basically the time it takes sitting there. So basically think of it like a spring being loaded and wound and wound and round, and then boom, off it goes. Generally. So don't worry, I'm not going to let you sit here watch this. I'm going to close the video now. But that's today. Let's have a quick look at oil while we're here. Wow, look at that. Yeah, unfortunately I was waiting to get back in, and I should have taken it, go with my gut. We talked about these areas. That's an area I was watching a break and retest of that area. Did it there, came in, we definitely broke it today. A double bottom here and a big push up. Not sure how many chances I can give myself. I did get in at the bottom. That was my goal, or whenever the bottom is, or it was there. So I did get in at the bottom, which is as per my plan, and I should have really held it. But anyway, I think my in was there. So I missed this one on this big gap up. It pulled back. Missed it the day before because it was aftermarket, and then I had my order in place and I got triggered in just about there. It was. That was a good move, and my out was there the next day. Excuse me. And I did say we've got a potential target of this area here. This is why I've drawn in this supply zone, and then we've got another supply zone, and then we've got a target of the high. So that's a brilliant move. That's an excellent move. So yeah, That's oil's good. So where can we go? So we could potentially see a rejection of a 90.42, this area here. We've broken through that area, but I didn't have that marked down as a area supply. And why was that? Let's have a look. Okay, what I'm looking for is more explosive moves. So we put in a pivot here, but we didn't see the explosive move back down. Whereas here, we put in a pivot, we got a waterfall. So that's more of an explosive move down than this. This is kind of a careful move down. So that's the reason there's not a supply zone there, but there is here. And you can see this one here, we've got a little pivot there and a big explosive move down. So that's why there's a supply zone here as well. Let's take a look at MES, see what that's doing. Yeah, look at that, still going. So we're watching it to, if it should break 43.13, 43.12 area. Maybe a break, a pullback, and that could be an entry, but that'd be pre-market or too close to the end. And we're against the trend as well, so any positions right now is a scalp. And let's have a look. Let's go into the hourly and see where we are with this, and then for tomorrow. Look at that level, came right into it. Beautiful level, such a great level. Oh, just moved it. I don't do that. I meant to put the pen on. Here we go. So this level here is such a great level. So look, we've got, what's the time? We've got 40 minutes left. We've got a low volume candle and there's a bit indecision there as well. So maybe that is the end of this trend move down. Double top, we've got a big indecision candle there and a big top in tail there as well. So that's kind of signified this potential drop down. So we could have got a good 1 hour trade out of that. So let's see what we got for tomorrow. Let's see what news we've got first. So tomorrow's Friday, isn't it? Okay, so there's no 3 out of 3. There's nothing at 8:30. We've got some more speakers tomorrow as well. So 9 o'clock and 12:15, and that's about it. Oil later on, but nothing will make anything move. So potential market movers at 9 o'clock and 12:15. So before the market opens and 12:15. So tomorrow might be a better day if you're looking for a direction without this volatility. So let's make a plan for tomorrow. So we've got 4300 bounce. I quite like that area, and you can see why. If I zoom out a bit more, we've got bottoms of candles here, tops of candles, bottoms of candles, and then probably today's bottom as well. So this is a big area to watch for a bounce, and 4300 is a nice psychological number as well. We broke through it a few weeks ago. We couldn't stay below it for more than a few days, but you can only knock on the door a few times before the door breaks open, and potentially maybe the start of the big move down. If we can get through 4300, then we've got a couple of areas. This area and this area is quite congested. You can see there's extra higher volume down here as well. So 42.57 is a potential bounce area, and the bottom of this zone, which happens to be, this is a big demand zone. You can see the last time we got down there, we put in this red candle and then a big green explosive move. Not massive, not as good as this zone. This is the one to watch for. Hence why I've got my level there, and I've got the top of a demand zone there as well. So 42.50 to 42.57 is an area to watch for if we get down here. And the reason I say we had this big move down and then big green explosive move back up. So right, okay, so we're coming into 4300 now, and remember we said we're looking for a double bottom if we could. Let's just see what happens, and then I'm going to shut the video down because I'm tired. And here we go, we touched it. So the first bottom, potentially the second bottom. Of course, it could just break through and we could see another level, start trading down at the lower level. Oil. Disappointed myself, I let that go, especially as I've been watching it for so long. Here we go, we've broken through 4,300. Are we going to stay below it or are we going to reject it? Just want to watch volume. So how long we've got? We've got a minute and a half left. Higher volume than before, but you expect that because it's a bigger candle than before. We could potentially see some mopping up of the market, and any stops are being mopped up here. We could just see a fake breakdown. So come in, I might see a big top in tail and a second push all the way back up again. End of the day, market makers are trying to get their positions in. So let's see what happens when it touches the zone. Oh, look at that. Let's just zoom in. So it came close to touching that demand zone. 42.96 it got down to. So let me pause the video and I'll re-enable it in a few minutes. Here we go again. So I just paused it for a bit. When I paused it, we were right down on the edge of the demand zone, and I said we might see it bounce there, and that's why these levels are always in play. And here we go, we're mopping up all the stops from below for people who are going long, and we're probably going to push up. That's it. That's all I wanted to show you. I had an idea it's going to do that. I didn't really want to drag this video out any longer than it already is, which is already almost 30 minutes long. Okay, well, I appreciate if you got to this point. I appreciate you watching. I just want to see whether analysing the volume pays off. Let's see what happens. Basically, it's doing exactly what I thought it would do. It came down, stop losses here. People went long, probably long there or long here. Stop losses have been mopped up, and now we're in this area of accumulation. We're accumulating, and now we might see a big push up. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. But it's weak today in the market. So I wasn't expected to do too much. So let me pause the video again and I'll come back in a few minutes just before the market closes. Here we go, it's breaking out. And I'll pause it for now and I'll come back in a few minutes. Okay, we are back again one more time. So you can see we couldn't quite break out from the 20 moving average, but something of interest, an anomaly. We've got increase in volume on these last three candles, increase in volume, and look at that, increase in volume, but it's a much smaller candle than the previous two, half the size. So what does that mean? It means that we just don't have the buyers ready to push it up like we wanted. The buyers came in because that would have been a full green candle at one point, and then the sellers came back and sold it off, and you can see that with the additional volume. So I'm going to call it a day here. Potentially we could see this candle push up as well over the top, but we're near the end of it. We've got 3 minutes before the market closes. So I'm going to call it a day. I'm just curious to see what happens, whether we can actually break out over these levels here. I don't think we will. And on that note, we weren't able to stay below 4,300, and we're probably going to close the day above 4300. The imbalances came in at 350 and 355. This is a 350 one. Is it? No. Yeah, that's the 350 imbalance there. Am I looking at? And the 355 imbalances this one a few minutes ago. Right, I'm calling it. Have a lovely day. Hopefully you had a good day trading. Another green day for me, and again, easy day, just taking it easy. Nice easy trade as well from the levels identified earlier, just off of that retest. Obviously I wish I held it longer, but I wasn't planning to do that anyway. And I will see you tomorrow. I'm back here at 9 AM Eastern Time or 2 PM here in the UK to go through the live videos for tomorrow. And we've got, I can see a few levels already from today which we can probably look at using. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.